Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How's it going, Dan?
Good, man. Back again, December 19th, 2021, when you get in this episode. And what would the O Brother Podcast be without a pivot? We'll get to that in a second. But at the top, let me just say, for those of you not currently following us, make sure that you do. And the easiest way to find all things O Brother is to go out to our official website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. That's ohbpodcast.com. And you can get access to all the O Brother goings on out there. And, we're pretty active on Instagram too. So I suppose, going out to at OHB podcast on Instagram, that's a good way you can follow us and, get access to all the current episodes and everything.
Make sure you go to your Instagram.
Yeah, at OHB podcast.
I tend to fall off the radar.
Yours is very quiet over the Mike Smith Studios. So we by the time you're getting this, we put out a bonus. We're calling a bonus episode of this. I don't know, experimental new series.
We're trying something.
Because I get this commute home every day. And I get on the phone with you, and then we're chit-chatting, and a lot of times it's movie-related, and sometimes it's often what ends up being the topic of the episode that we end up doing. So we thought,
we usually have a topic, we're all set, and then during the conversation,
it changes.
That sucks. Let's change.
And a lot of times it's some of the best material. It's funny. Yeah. It's like, okay, so
it's like if you want to jump inside of our brain to see how we get to this point.
That's scary.
And, like if you don't go to our website, go to at least YouTube and subscribe so we can get those numbers up a little bit. But
yeah, show us some love out on YouTube.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What kind of a man? What kind of a guy takes a man's socks and steals them in the middle of winter? What kind of a human being?
Okay, first of all, and I've messed up because I don't have those at the ready. But okay, let's be clear to the listeners, because you're referring to the O Brother socks, which you can get out on the O Brother shop. But which I think maybe that's defunct now. I don't know if
hopefully
the Cruising with O Brother series might go the way of the O Brother shop, but you gave me those socks.
What?
I did not steal those socks.
I would give you precious O Brother socks.
Why would you want those socks anyways? It's just a picture of me.
That's true.
And you with like a black spot on your face. It's just, you're on the heel.
I should have saved that letter and read it. You should have read the letter I wrote to the people.
That would have been so good. Can you still access it? You'll have to pull it up.
Check. Yeah, I'll have to check because it was really funny.
Well, I could send a copy of it out on Instagram if you can find it.
I'm like, not even one sock.
Right.
And
it was just completely. It wasn't like
just even a black spot.
Yeah. Now, if it was the black spot with like the 3D glasses, that might have been.
That might have worked.
Halfway there. Yeah.
Might have sold a couple.
Might have sold a few. Yeah. Maybe we should have sold 3D glasses. Maybe that's what we missed.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I said that what would an O Brother podcast episode be without a pivot, and here we are. So it's funny because we're in the height of the holiday season and we're doing these like dramatic films. And
we planned on doing a holiday film.
We did. Well, we were going to do a trilogy of films, actually.
Right. I wanted to do
classics.
The Grinch, to be honest. I wanted to do the animated Grinch that came out last year because I haven't seen it. But you don't like Benedict Cumberbatch, which I don't know why.
Emily? Cumberbatch? I
didn't say it wrong.
I think you said Cumberpatch, and it's Cumberbatch. So, Emily,
no.
Ding.
I said batch. Play that back.
Ding.
Rewind it.
Ding, ding, ding. Benedict Cumberbatch. No, I don't necessarily. No. See, I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange. I think that's where you're confusing the two things.
But that's excellent too. And you've never watched Sherlock Holmes, which is fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I haven't watched. I haven't watched
on the BBC
Paths of Glory either. But okay, so let's get to can I say the film that we're talking about?
Please.
Good Lord. So we our last episode we did the Card Counter, which was a very dramatic film, very intense and great film with Oscar Isaac that we did. This one is one that you want to talk about how this? Yeah, how did
another
this come?
Feel good movie?
How did we arrive at this selection? How did we go from Elf to The Unforgivable starring Sandra Bullock?
Christmas Vacation was on that list too.
Christmas Vacation was.
You had mentioned this movie a while ago, if I remember correctly.
I did. I shared maybe the teaser trailer or the trailer with you.
Yeah. And it always happens this way. You share something with me and it kind of sits back in the corner of my brain. Mm-hmm. And then we're talking about doing whatever we're going to do. And I say, what about that Sandra Bullock movie you talked about 2 months ago? I mean, you must be amazed that I remember these movies. And I said, well, why don't we take a look? Because I started to, what it was is I was on Prime or whatever, channel. And I was looking at the movies, seeing what was new, what had just come out. Yeah. And I saw that. And I started to watch it. I watched about a half hour of it and I liked, the beginning. So I went, instead of continuing watching it, because I didn't want to waste an hour, I waited to see if I could sell it to you.
Right.
And that way we would do it for the show. So that's how we came to it.
And we had some other ideas too. And then we just, took a hard left on those. But, so yeah, again, The Unforgivable with Sandra Bullock, and this actually, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, this had a very limited, brief release, I think, in some theaters sometime in November, and then it went the Netflix route, and it started streaming on Netflix as of December 10th. So it's really just started to come out, or be seen.
Yeah, and this is her second movie in a row via Netflix as the major release. She did the movie Bird Box. Both of these are books. Bird Box and the one we're doing today are both books.
Is this a book? I know this is based on a British TV miniseries.
TV show, which was based on a book
called Unforgiven.
Yes.
Clint.
And in Bird Box, I wanted to go back that just for a second, because that was like a big smash hit on Netflix until 2 weeks ago. It was the biggest movie on Netflix, bar none. And then the Rock's movie, which is like Red Point, or I'm not even sure the name.
Red Notice?
Yeah, something like that.
With Deadpool. Ryan
Reynolds and Gal
Gadot. Yeah.
So that took over, took over pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
because
okay.
Bird Box was a real popular book.
Yeah. Let's get off of Bird Box and let's get out of the Bird Box and get on to The Unforgivable. So give us the very, very brief synopsis of this film.
Okay. So this, opens with Sandra Bullock, who wins the award for most depressed looking person on the planet for the first half of the movie, at least, maybe the whole movie. But we find out she's been in jail. She's just getting out of jail after being incarcerated for 20 years. And she's, like anybody that's been in jail for 20 years, you got to readjust to life. And that means, the job that was waiting for you, or the thought of what you were going to do when you got out, doesn't necessarily meet with what's actually out there. So, she meets with her parole. What do they call him? A parole officer. She meets with him and he sets her up with a job cutting fish. And she spent 20 years for murder, first-degree murder. And meanwhile, the family of the man she murdered, who was an officer, are not very happy that she's out living a life they say, well, she's got a guy, she's got a life. This isn't right. So they've kind of honed in on her as well. And her life isn't so, she also has a sister that was with her at the time of the shooting. And she was only 5 years old. She doesn't remember anything. A family adopted her. She wants to get back in touch with the sister. But of course, the adopted family wants nothing to do with her. And that's basically the premise of this story.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible cast when you start
phenomenal.
When you break it down, it's, obviously you got Sandra Bullock, you've got Richard Thomas, who I thought was awesome. John Boy from the Waltons, for those that
we
know
saw
that
him the last time in The Americans.
That's right.
Excellent.
I was trying to place it, and yes, The Americans, of course. And then Rob Morgan, who played the parole officer. And I guess he was hand chosen by Sandra Bullock to play that role, by the way.
Yeah, she's the producer of the movie.
Viola Davis, Vincent D'Onofrio, Pyle for those Kubrick fans.
Yeah,
and then the girl, I want to get her name right, Aisling Franciosi. She's an Irish actress. She plays the sister. When she's older. Correct. Yeah. Right. Correct. And there's a couple of others that you referenced, a pair of brothers that are pretty prominent in the film as well. The sons of the cop that you mentioned.
Right.
And I don't have their names at the ready, but all the performances I thought were really good. I thought all of the acting was really good. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there were some faces mixed in that I wasn't familiar with, along with this star-studded cast, really. This is also a film that started production in February of 2020. And so we all know what happened shortly thereafter, right? So another one impacted by the pandemic. And I wonder, this one, I was really curious, how do you think this would have fared if it got a legitimate release in the theater with a cast like that?
The cast is phenomenal. Even people who, like Viola Davis, had a relatively small part.
Academy Award winner?
Correct. But she takes that small part and makes it significant.
Yes.
And I thought all of them did that. Whether it was the wife, Richard Thomas's wife, they all were just really good.
Linda Edmond, or I may get a ding on that one because I may not have her plays Richard Thomas's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which I had just said, so you weren't listening to me. But
no. I was saying who the actress was.
Oh, okay.
Nice try though.
But
ding.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, what it would have done.
Linda Emond. Sorry. So it's 1-1 right now.
Yeah. Plus the interruption. Ding.
That's it. That's every episode for you. So then ding for you.
So I don't think it would have fared well in the box office, even with the staff, because I don't know if you've looked at any of the reviews.
Well, considering what else is out there, or what else it would have come out against, that
right. There's a
because
lot
of all the delays, it might have come out
Correct.
against Bond or something, who
Right.
knows?
Right.
But yeah, speaking of that, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, it is, I wrote it down, 39% on the critics.
Yeah.
80%
correct
from the audience.
And the critics didn't just hit this. They tried to, dig a hole, put it inside with all the actors. They
was
thrashed this.
Was there a common theme that you picked up on reviewing
Yes.
some of that? Okay, what was it? Without giving anything away.
Yeah, that there was too many subplots and that they were too contrived. The brothers subplot where one brother was good, one brother was bad, then they switched out of nowhere. There was a lot of that was the biggest complaint, was it's three stories squished into one. Now,
I
didn't have a problem with that at all.
I didn't either.
And I'll tell you, at the end of this movie, my gut, I just had this gut reaction to it where it was just like, it was like a knot in my stomach. And when a movie can do that, bring on that kind of reaction, whether it's me laughing, me feeling whatever, I'm basically a stone. So if it evokes some kind of visceral response from me, I usually like the movie for
That's
that
impressive.
reason.
That's impressive. I wasn't sure what you were going to think about the conclusion of the film.
Yeah.
But you were satisfied.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. And I was satisfied with the subplots.
I want to talk about Sandra Bullock for a minute because I'm not sure what I last saw her in. I haven't kept up with her last few films.
I saw Bird Box. So
yeah, I didn't see Bird Box.
Yeah. She's only done 9 or 10 films in the last decade.
Well, okay, so there you go.
Yeah. When I was researching, I was surprised.
It's very selective, and
yes.
But I remember her going back to Love Potion #9 for anybody who remembers, right?
Yes.
And she's America's Sweetheart and all of that.
Exactly.
Now she has she's adopted a couple of African American kids, so this story is also personal for her in a lot of ways. But we talked about this when we reviewed Nomadland, which we both enjoyed as well. A very difficult film also to watch. But if you recall, I was talking about Frances McDormand in her performance in that film and the way, and it wasn't unique to that performance of hers, but the way that she has the courage to just strip everything away and be so raw on film. I always admire that from an actor or actress. And I felt the same way about Sandra Bullock's performance in this. It was
I had
so
that same
raw.
thought.
It was so raw. For someone who in Hollywood has been put up on this, this beauty pedestal and
right, Miss Congeniality.
Exactly.
Like I got the movies, the older movies behind me. A Time to Kill, Speed, Gravity. Gravity was good.
Love Potion #9, not up there.
It's not up there. That never hit the. I didn't really. I think this is, and Bird Box was very dramatic as well.
Yeah,
and I think that's her sweet spot as an actress. I like her in those roles. And this, like I said, she just had this depression look on her face, no makeup.
Right.
Stripped down. They didn't have to de-age her. All they had to do was have her just, go without makeup. And, there was a brief scene where she starts like kind of a romance, not really. She meets a guy at work and they start.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned.
Out.
Let me just say, because there's one of the actors we forgot to mention, Jon Bernthal, who's also great. Yeah.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Right.
But you could see her coming out of her shell ever so slightly, only to get whacked right back into it. I mean, there was a lot of that. She would maybe start to, live, and then something would just come in and take it away from her.
And it was a very physical performance too.
Yeah.
By her, with some of the scenes in the film. Now, the director, Nora Fingscheidt, which I think that's how you say it. She's a German director. Not really familiar with their work. I didn't see a tremendous amount on her resume, but I thought it was well directed too. I don't know if anything popped out for you in terms of the visual of the film, but and what is it? Just under 2 hours, I think, this film.
Yeah, it was under 2 hours, and there was a lot of flashbacks, which you said anything pop out.
Right.
The use of flashbacks, and this is what a lot of critics complained about, is that's kind of cheating. Giving us just little tidbits of the story and not just telling the story. but I thought that was a clever way to keep us like, okay, we know she did this, but what's that
Right.
showing us?
And it's funny because I had more than one interpretation of what was going on throughout the film. And I think that probably led to your reaction at the end and how it unfolds. And okay, didn't see, this was not, as we would say, a Joe McDokes.
Yeah, there was a scene with her and Viola Davis. That
Emily,
was
can
really
you find
gut-wrench.
I don't think we've ever spotlighted it. So let's make sure we get a thing of Joe McDokes somewhere in here.
Oh yeah, behind the eight ball.
Behind the eight ball. Yeah, she'll find
it. Someday we'll explain that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think we did. Maybe I've put it in a previous episode. But anyways, go ahead.
Maybe. But yeah, the scene towards the end with Viola Davis and Sandra Bullock when they reveal something significant, that was a real gut check moment. For if you're watching the film, if you've got any kind of emotion in you have to watch that scene and say, wow, that was a tough scene to film.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention it just occurred to me that I had been thinking about the actress I mentioned, Aisling, who plays the sister, the older version of the sister. We find out she's a piano player, a very good piano player, actually. And there's a scene in the film where she's playing one of my favorite songs, which is by Radiohead, called Everything in Its Right Place.
Right.
And it's it's actually a song that was written on piano by Tom York, who's the lead singer of Radiohead, for those people that are fans of the group. And I won't get into the weeds with it now, but you should go to Wikipedia or just Google that song and read about how that song came to be, its meaning, and you'll see some relevance to probably why it was chosen to be in this particular sequence in the film. I thought that was pretty cool.
Right. Another complaint I heard was, the last two movies she's done, Bird Box and this movie, was, like an Oscar. Let me try to grab an Oscar, even if that is in the so what?
Yeah. Why are we,
like, why are you complaining about
hate?
That? There was a lot of, somebody has taken over for Roger Ebert on his site. It's a woman, and man, she loves to she's much worse than I am when she, like, I've called movies garbage, and I always think, whatever I think of a movie, that's what I think. I don't expect people to agree with me all the time. I hope people will watch it and make up their own mind. I do hope every once in a while we come up with a clunker and we say, do yourself a favor and save some money. But the reality is there's movies that are right on the line, that could go either way. I don't like it. You like it. So, figure it out for yourself. I give you my opinion, but that doesn't mean, we have some feeling of, oh, well, it's great because of this, and this,
right.
But she seems to come off like that. Whenever I read her reviews, I'm like, she's coming off like a bit too up, like she's above us or something like that.
Yeah. And I had seen some interviews with Sandra Bullock talking about the film and just the simple notion of what would you do if you were in this situation? How would you respond? How would you react to it? It's pretty interesting and seems to be one of the main reasons why she took it on as a project. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, that would have been the one issue that I would have got hung up on, is why not tell from the beginning the full story, bring in all the facts. I'm not sure, because I don't think she told her lawyer. I don't think she told anybody, the full story of what went on that day.
Well, but I think two things. I think one, it's what helps move the story forward. It's what builds tension throughout the story.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I
know why they did it as filmmakers, but in real life,
Well,
I wonder,
that was going to be my second point. I think I would imagine that's how you would act. You wouldn't, it's not, that is not something you just want to come out and sort of share with the world, I mean, it's a very, considering why she went away,
Right.
One thing I did think about, though, was just and perhaps this was the conditions of her parole or something, but wouldn't you think you'd want to go anywhere other than that community, though? Like, that was the only thing I thought, why is she hanging around here? Exactly.
Well, but I think the answer to that is that's where her sister is.
Correct.
And I mean, that's what she was living for. She was living for, hopefully.
Right.
Getting to her sister. Her sister was getting older. She was going to start making her own decisions.
Yep.
Let her decide what to do.
Mm-hmm.
If she should, at this point, the belief is she doesn't even remember her. She doesn't even know she existed. Well, let her decide that. Let her figure that out. There's a line that I can't say it, between Viola Davis and Sandra Bullock that I just loved at the end, but I want to scream it.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a good line.
You'll have to tell me off air.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it, because I was like, to me that almost summed up the whole movie.
So as we wind it down a little bit, I don't know if there's anything else significant you want to say about it, but again, we sort of joked at the beginning of the episode about, here we are, and you'd think it's not Halloween Fest, but Holiday Fest, but we're doing. Yeah. But we talked about the fact that, our hope with something like this is that because of the reaction of the critics, because it's, it's just gone to Netflix, because the pandemic and everything, this is a film that a lot of people might unfortunately not get to see. And it's a good film. It's a good film. It's a solid film.
It's interesting because we've gotten behind at least two movies I know of that were direct Netflix, and they were pretty brave to stand behind them. The one with the young girls,
Cuties.
What was the name of it? Cuties. We were pretty much trying to champion that film when that came out, because it was getting thrashed for all the wrong reasons. And I think this movie, after I read her review, I thought this has got to be an outlier. But as you said, from the
39%,
39%, and IMDb was right on track with the same thing.
But again, it's a critic, it's an opinion, 80% favorable from those movie fans that have seen it.
And if you have Netflix, there's no reason not to watch this.
Exactly.
It's a quality movie. It's a good movie that will probably have an impact on you if you watch it.
The Unforgivable, starring Sandra Bullock. So catch that on Netflix now. That's a solid recommendation here from Oh Brother. Anything else on this particular one?
Not on this one, but we're getting ready for some big ones coming up.
Yeah, we get our spidey senses are tingling right about now, right? And then we get
forward to that.
Doing our best as of this recording to avoid all spoilers. And we talked a little bit about it in our brief cruising with Oh Brother.
That's right.
Bonus episode there. And then, of course, we got The Matrix right around the corner coming, and there's some others down the road there where you got planned, but those are the two big ones that are coming up.
Right.
So
we may slip in a special guest.
Perhaps, yeah. That you never know what we're going to come up with here at the Oh Brother podcast before the year is through. So, and I want to, although she's still with us, I want to give a huge shout out to again our production assistant Emily Viadero, who has been a tremendous support to us and a really a pretty big source of fun, just with her creativity and seeing what she's going to do with the episodes. And so we've really enjoyed working with her. Just wanted to give her some props here in the episode.
Especially on YouTube. If you watch YouTube and you like the little things that are going on, that's all her. Also, Andrea, I got to give a shout out to Andrea for doing she's the one who makes the
YouTube thumbnails.
The YouTube thumbnails that are just, they always make me laugh.
Yeah, we got some good ones coming up.
Yeah, we've
real
been
good
lucky.
ones. Yeah,
real lucky.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.